we've turned the civil rights era into kind of a morality tale in which, of course, all good people were for it, and that's why it triumphed, and that's why it transformed the country, and that's why we don't have to deal with it anymore. But that's not how the participants in the civil rights movement saw themselves. They saw themselves as courageously, but perhaps also in a way that was foolhardy, risking everything, not just their bodies, but often their jobs, the mortgages on their homes that could easily be foreclosed upon by local banks, the futures of their children. They saw themselves risking everything for profound social change. And they were deeply optimistic in the way that angry people can be, that if you just do this, if you just fight, things can get better. But they were also, I think, profoundly pragmatic about what was happening to them, that the violence was indicative of sort of broad social opposition to the change that they were trying to promote. I think in that context, they would have been astounded to see an African-American president 50 years later, not surprised to see continuing resistance to the Voting Rights Act. But perhaps most tellingly and most bitingly, they might have been disappointed with that African-American president. I think they would have understood the incredible accomplishment, the incredible symbolism of his election. But they might have been disappointed that Obama didn't bring the sort of fierce courage of change to the presidency, that he didn't see himself in a period in which he was really optimistically, but perhaps foolhardily, pushing profound social change. Instead, very soon after he was elected, he pivoted and he began to retreat from race and also from liberalism. And here's how I think it connects to dog whistle politics. Barack Obama, I think, is a very, very sophisticated thinker about how race works. He's a very sophisticated understanding. And he understands that over the last 50 years, conservatives have linked liberalism to race with a basic narrative that says liberalism is about giveaways to minorities. Demonize minorities, distrust liberalism, vote against it. And now we have a black Democrat who's also going to be a liberal. It would be like the perfect storm, I think Obama thought to himself. So he says, fine, I'll be a black Democrat, but I'm going to distance myself from minorities, and I'm going to distance myself from liberals, and that way I can be above the fray and not polarize the conversation. Not realizing that trying to stay above the fray meant that he would be ineffectual in changing the basic direction of this country, which is towards increased racial polarization, increased resentment towards government, and an increased handover of government to the very rich. That's the process that, frankly, I think he saw but refused to intervene in. And so I think that we have this period of this, we're now 6-7 years into this presidency, and it's only now, after the 2014 elections, when he faces no more elections, that a Barack Obama who has some sense that he could be a change agent is really starting to surface. I wish we'd had this Obama back in January of 2009 rather than in December of 2014.